This video is sponsored by Ultimate Guard, but even long before this channel was sponsored by Ultimate Guard, they were always my #1 choice when it comes to sleeves or deck boxes. Pick up Ultimate Guard products at your local game store, or order them on Amazon. Link down below. Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today we continue our series upgrading the pre-constructed commander decks from Bloomborough. As I'm sure you saw from the thumbnail and video title, today we'll be looking at Squirreled Away, the Golgari deck. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. Squirreled Away is led by Hazel of the Root Bloom, a 4-mana 3/5 legendary squirrel druid. We may tap her, pay 2 life, and tap X untapped tokens we control to add X mana in any combination of colors. Additionally, at the beginning of our upkeep, we create a token that is a copy of a token we control. If that token is a squirrel, we create 2 token copies of it instead. So, taking a look at this deck, I realized that it's half token matters and half an Aristocrats deck. The problem is, you can't have half of an Aristocrats deck. Also, Hazel generates a ton of mana, but there are no payoffs. Additionally, the deck falls short on my checklist. What checklist was that? I'm so glad you asked. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. This deck was close, but fell short on card advantage and mana ramp, which is weird for a deck with green in it, right? So I decided to remove the Aristocrats package and build the deck as an X-Spell tribal deck, using tokens to help power our commander, allowing us to generate a ton of mana. Also, the cuts will be going into a new deck. Total cost for both decks, assuming you pick up the PreCon, comes to about $185. Not bad for 2 decks. So we'll be cutting Chatterfang Squirrel General, Chitterspitter, Zulaport Cutthroat, Nadir's Nightblade, Poison Tip Archer, Bastion of Remembrance, Woe Strider, Plague Crafter, Skull Clamp, Morbid Opportunist, Moldervine Reclamation, Grim Backwoods, Plum the Forbidden, Saw in Half, Ogre Slumlord, Nested Shambler, Deadly Dispute, and Garruk Cursed Huntsman. Remember, we wanted to add more to our ramp package, so we're adding Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Rampant Growth, and Farseek. Nothing too fancy, just some staples. For additional card advantage, we've added Damnable Pact, Cut of the Prophets, Phyrexian Arena, Harmonize, and Siphon Mind. A card I feel belongs in this deck is Pest Infestation. Finally, adding to the core of our deck, we've got Profane Command, Exponential Growth, Torment of Hailfire, Exsanguinate, Unbound Flourishing, and Valley Rockcaller. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 51 mana sources split between 37 lands, 13 pieces of ramp, and our commander. 10 pieces of card advantage, 9 pieces of interaction, 3 board wipes, 1 piece of graveyard hate in Bojuka Bog, 2 sudden I win cards in Torment of Hailfire and Exsanguinate. Our deck is designed to fill the board with a ton of tokens. On a budget, obviously. Tutors to help find Doubling Season would be great in this deck, but that's another $100 just between those 2 cards. But on a budget, we're doing pretty good. Anyway, we tap our commander, generate a ton of mana, and kill our opponents with a giant Torment of Hailfire or Exsanguinate. But what about the rest of the deck? Obviously, we're looking at making a Chatterfang Squirrel General Aristocrats deck. Again, this one will be fairly budget. Chatterfang Squirrel General is a 3-mana 3/3 legendary squirrel warrior with Forest Walk. As long as one or more tokens would be created under our control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens are created instead. So no matter what token we're creating, whether it's a creature token or a non-creature token, we get to make squirrels as well, which is very exciting for us, because Chatterfang works as a limited sacrifice outlet as well as spot removal. Now, as I stated before, this will be an Aristocrats deck. You need 3 pieces to build an Aristocrats deck: creatures to sacrifice, sacrifice outlets, and payoffs for sacrificing your creatures, usually in the form of dealing damage to our opponents. We need a lot of damage effects, just as many creatures or token generators, but only a few sacrifice outlets. So long as we have one on board, we can sacrifice all of our tokens to drain our opponents for as much damage as possible. But what about the rest of the deck? For lands, we're running Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Grim Backwoods, Woodland Cemetery, Woodland Chasm, Haunted Mire, Tainted Wood, Viridescent Bog, Twilight Mire, Llanowar Wastes, Darkboar Pathway, Necroblossom Snarl, Temple of Malady, Darkmoss Bridge, Golgari Guildgate, Golgari Rot Farm, Bojuka Bog, Myriad Landscape, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, 9 Swamps, and 8 Forests. Pretty straightforward. Our ramp consists of Pitiless Plunderer, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Rampant Growth, Farseek, Skyshroud Claim, Ashnod's Altar, Tireless Provisioner, and Bootlegger's Stash. Assuming our commander is on board, Bootlegger's Stash basically reads, tap a land, make a treasure and a squirrel. For card advantage, we're running Skull Clamp, Morbid Opportunist, Moldervine Reclamation, Plumb the Forbidden, Deadly Dispute, Siphon Mind, Phyrexian Arena, Ravenous Squirrel, Greed, Village Rites, Death Reap Ritual, and Fecundity. I know a lot of you are thinking, hey, Fecundity is a group hug effect. What are you doing, Danon? Don't worry, it's fine. For interaction and spot removal, we're running Plaguecrafter, Beast Within, Priest of Forgotten Gods, Assassin's Trophy, Putrefy, Abrupt Decay, Return to Nature, Tragic Slip, Pest Infestation, and Feed the Swarm. You'll note we're not running Dictate of Erebos or Grave Pact in this deck. This is a nice Aristocrats deck. Sort of. For board wipes, we've got Toxic Deluge and Black Sun Zenith. Gotta keep our opponents in line somehow. For additional sacrifice outlets, we're running Woe Strider, Saw in Half, and Visceraseer. Our Aristocrats consist of Zulaport Cutthroat, Nadir's Nightblade, Poison Tip Archer, Bastion of Remembrance, Blood Artist, Mirkwood Bats, Marionette Apprentice, Falconwrath Noble, Vindictive Vampire, Sir Conrad the Grim, and Agent of the Iron Throne. Finally, the core of our deck contains Ogre Slumlord, Nested Shambler, Garruk Cursed Huntsman, Chitterspitter, Skewed Swarm, Avenger of Zendikar, Beladros Witherbloom, Tendershoot Dryad, Compy Swarm, Arachnogenesis, and Cloakwood Hermit. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 50 mana sources split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp. Right on target. 12 pieces of card advantage. 10 pieces of interaction. 2 board wipes. 2 pieces of graveyard hate in Return to Nature and Bojuka Bog. 1 sudden I win card in Avenger of Zendikar. This is a slow and grindy deck. Aristocrats is not an archetype that wins on turn 4 out of nowhere. This deck is designed to build up over time, punish our opponents for board wiping us, and draw a ton of cards. For each aristocrat we have on the battlefield, the damage increases when one of our creatures die. If we have Zulaport Cutthroat and 1 creature dies, that's 1 damage. Not a big deal. But if we have 5 of them on board and 10 creatures die, that's 50 damage. I've had numerous games where someone else board wiped and I won the game on the spot because all my sacrifice outlets kept being counterspelled and it was the only way I could win. Now, going back to Fecundity, assuming we're the only Aristocrats deck at the table, we will be drawing a ton more cards than our opponents will, at a rate of 3 or 4 to 1. Additionally, a card like Fecundity will make us seem like a lower threat. After all, I'm helping you draw cards. You like me, so keep me around more. Oh, too late. Are you picking up Squirreled Away? What are your plans with the deck? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Sean, Mark, Borgie, Nazwin, Midge, Alex, Conga, Aaron, Chris, Robert, Austin, William, Pye, Turner, Triz, Kazaris, Slack, and Dan. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.